Session.
Welcome back to Court is in Session, presented by the Caps On podcast. If you like what you hear going forward, please like, rate, review, let us know how we're doing, and all that good stuff. Nick, how are you?
Taking it easy on this fine Thursday evening. Just another day in paradise here in Wayne, New Jersey.
As always.
As
so
always.
I guess the first little bit of business that we have is the players taking a stand on the killing of Jacob Blake. Chose yesterday, led by Milwaukee and followed by the other teams and ultimately the NBA, to protest the games and not play. So that was yesterday, the 26th of August. Not a calendar, I have to look, right? on the 26th, and ultimately they're going to protest today as well on the 27th. And there's been meetings with the players in the bubble about what kind of action that they feel that they should be taking, whether it's appropriate to continue with what they're doing in the bubble. And I think it was ultimately led to the players deciding that they're going to continue to use their platform in the bubble with the league to keep going with their social justice efforts.
Listen, it's tough. Only they know what. I have no suggestion about anything. What else are you gonna do at this point?
To me, whatever they do is the right move. Whatever
Absolutely.
they decide to do is what they feel is best, and that's ultimately the best way to go forward. But it looks like we are going to have a resumption of the season starting this weekend. So I guess we could just go on and say what we've been seeing so far in the bubble. I think we could start with saying some goodbyes to.
You could start with saying your farewell tour to your friends.
Are we gonna start with the Nets? We can start with the Nets. This team was decimated coming in, and they showed fight in the qualifying games, and then they kind of rolled over and died in the actual playoff games, and that's to be expected against Toronto. But now we get into a really interesting offseason for the Brooklyn Nets. As they need a permanent head coach. Jacques Vaughn is going to be in the running for that. He was the interim coach, but there's been rumors swirling that there's a man named Gregg Popovich who may or may not be swindled into coaching
David,
the Brooklyn Nets.
All right, now slow down. Swindle is not even the right word. First of all that was said was that the Nets would be interested in pursuing Gregg Popovich. There's nothing from Popovich's group saying that he's interested in even leaving the San Antonio Spurs.
You're correct. That's fine. Okay. All right.
You're already getting all excited. You're already all excited about it. Yeah, you are. Fine. Look at you. You're all excited about the possibility.
Yes. I am interested in the possibility of Gregg Popovich coaching this team. But with that said, he's under contract with the San Antonio Spurs, and it's going to take some sort of compensation for the Spurs to just, part ways with him.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, right.
Just swap it up.
Yeah. Coaching trades aren't necessarily common in the NBA. They happen, but it's not common. So it's hard to put together like a package per se for a coach, when normally they're surrounded by like a handful of second round picks maybe, or like a late first or something like that. Like it's really tough to gauge.
That's why I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, to maneuver around something like that it's tough. And then what's the point of maneuvering around it? Now you're giving up something instead of just paying for a coach who could do just as good of a job.
Right. But if you're the Spurs, right, and Gregg Popovich is like, I think I want to try my hand at other opportunities, they're not going to look at Gregg Popovich, the coach who's brought them to where they are, and like help them.
You expect him to say that after even? I mean,
not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I don't think he's interested in leaving. I mean, he's had teams there before that haven't had the star power, and Once you're a long tenured guy there, he's a staple of that organization. They look to him for all the stuff. Like, they treat him well. I don't know why he would leave. I get why the Nets would want him. Who wouldn't want him as their head coach? I mean, I would love the Celtics to have him as a head coach. What team wouldn't? But realistically, I don't think he goes anywhere.
Right. No, I agree with you. I don't think it's realistic to necessarily assume that he's going to want out of that situation, especially the way he's built it up. But if he goes on the contingency that's like, I'm going to leave and I want Becky Hammond to be the coach, right? The Spurs aren't going to tell him no. It really comes down to Pop. If Popovich is like, this is where I am, this is where I'm going to be, the organization, the Spurs organization is going to be like, phenomenal, great, we're not going to make any changes. But if he's like, I want to go try something else, they're not going to block him in any way. I don't think it's just what I was trying to get at.
I agree.
But that's an opportunity for coach to come in, whether it's, Gregg Popovich, Ty Lue, Jason Kidd, Jacques Vaughn coming back, something like that, to coach Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, plus either a surplus of solid role players, or those role players get shifted for a legitimate third star. And I wanted to ask you, what would you, if you're Sean Marks, you're this 6'7", 6'8" tall New Zealand general manager, okay?
That's an upgrade. I would take that as being a little 5'10" assistant manager at a supermarket.
So you're Sean Marks. Looking at the Nets roster, what are you doing? You holding on to the dudes, or are you trying to get a guy like a Brad Beal or is there another star?
Initially, I think it's more so of a trade deadline kind of deal they would have to make. I mean, who knows? You don't know what you have, with your guys. Obviously, with the shortened season this year, not having KD all year and having Kyrie maybe half of the year this year, you don't know what you're going to get out of your guys. Next year with a fully healthy team, I would like. You have great role players in Joe Harris and you saw Karis LeVert peak out and Jared Allen, even Rodions Kurucs and all that stuff on your bench. It's a decent team. It's not like it's a bad team. Do they need to make a move? I don't think they need to make a move. Could they? Sure, but I think you're really going to hurt your team. That team's always been I feel like the chemistry is always good. You need good role players for that team. With the two scorers and DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen being fine down low, I don't think there's a need to trade. Obviously we'll see how things happen towards the trade deadline next year. And Brad Beal is always going to be one of the hot names thrown around on the trade block. Brad Beal, Andrew Wiggins, anybody like that. I think it would take a lot to trade away or to get Brad Beal off of Washington, and I don't think it'd be worth it at the end of the day. So I think they should hang on for the time being. You do trade for somebody, you do trade for a small shooter. You have my whole thing is I don't know what you're going to get out of Kevin Durant. You're looking at 75-80% Kevin Durant at best. And, how comfortable is he going to be out on the floor playing 35 minutes a game? I don't know. If maybe he loses his defense, his defensive ability and, his shooting is still there. Okay, well, now you have to go out and get a defensive player. His shooting's not there, but his defensive ability is there. Then, okay, let's go out and get another shooter. So it's going to be tough. It'd be interesting to see what Sean Marks does. He's got the pieces to go one way or another. I think the Nets are sitting pretty right now.
I think it's one of the better coaching opportunities in the league to come in and coach two superstars like that, and not a war chest per se, but a decent takeaway of role players, along with the New Orleans Pelicans job. I think it's a solid one as well. Moving on to the Philadelphia 76ers, who were sent packing by your Boston Celtics. In the wake of that, they have fired Coach
Not only were
Brett
they
Brown.
sent packing, as they were walking out the door, there was a broom going behind them too, saying "Get out of here."
Yeah, so they've left the bubble, fired Brett Brown, and firing Brett Brown I feel like was a year too late, possibly.
Yeah, listen, I think it's late, but I gotta respect Elton Brand in the Sixers giving him giving him a chance, I guess, this year. So I'm like, listen, we'll give you one more shot. We'll see what you can do. Yeah, I think it's too late. They had good reason to fire him last year. Especially with the way the team blew up in the offseason too. Elton Brand's already gone on record saying he's not looking to trade either Embiid or Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that's the right move? Not really, but that's fine with me. Let them make the wrong move again and again.
I don't think you should go out and so opportunity or not opportunity, but I guess goal number one for them to sign a coach, right? And they're going to sign a coach that is going to say that he can do the most for Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, whatever that is, right? And we've talked about this in the past, so I don't want to keep ringing on it. So whatever that coach says, whatever coach is going to get hired, it says that he can get the most out of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, right? And whatever else they bring in. And he'll probably have a hand in – he should bring in shooters, right? Guys that can space the floor around those two. That said, if it doesn't work out in the first some odd games, right, you have a trade deadline, and Ben Simmons is probably the better trade option, I think, for other teams than Joel Embiid. Mm-hmm. But I would try to ship Joel Embiid first if I were Elton Brand, and it came to that situation. If you harp on it and decide that that's the move you want to make.
I mean, I agree. Ben Simmons is the better trade chip, but I think the better move is Embiid. You look at his injury history. You look at his lack of endurance and how hard he plays, towards the end of the games. Listen, Embiid's arguably one of the best center in the game. I think Jokic is better, but only because Jokic can play all 42 minutes and still run up and down the floor. I saw a trade. There's everyone's throwing out trade rumors now, and possibilities of trades. And I saw that the Golden State Warriors throwing together Andrew Wiggins and the 2 pick for Embiid. And then imagine that. I mean, I think Embiid, it fits on only certain teams. I mean, who you need to be kind of set in. You have to already have shooters, an established point guard, pretty good rotation guys if you want to get Embiid. But Simmons, you move Simmons, everyone's going to give you the whole world for Simmons, for his potential and stuff like that.
And I don't think you can win necessarily with a center being one of your best players. If you look at the last 6 NBA champions, so we'll look at Toronto, their centers, Marc Gasol, who is really good at what he does. Marc Gasol is going to lock down your best, your best center, and he's going to make very smart passes, and he's going to make some shots here and there, whether it's down low or at the 3-point line. Ibaka, very much of the same thing. And then Golden State in 17 and 18, you had Jordan Bell, Damian Jones, Kevon Looney, JaVale McGee, Zaza Pachulia, and David West, right? That's 17-18 Golden State. Though none of those guys are your best player, obviously. Same thing in 16-17 with the addition for those same guys. 15 and 16 in Cleveland, you have Channing Frye, Timothy Mozgov, and Anderson Varejao. They have Tristan Thompson listed as a power forward on Basketball Reference, but I think he's more of a center. And he won them that series because he was able to out-rebound the Golden State Warriors in that series. He kind of made the difference, and that's why he got paid. People forget that. But then we go back to the Golden State Warriors, and it's Festus Ezeli, Andrew Bogut, and Mo Spates.
Right?
God. And then in 13 and 14, San Antonio, you have Aaron Baines, who didn't play that much, Tim Duncan, and Tiago Splitter. So the center position is kind of devalued, where you have to do a lot of different things, and I don't know if Joel Embiid can really do that as your best player if you're going to him every single time.
I agree, and I mean, you see what happened in this past playoff series when there's no Simmons and it was just Embiid. And in the first quarter, I think in Game 4, Embiid had 20 points in the first quarter. He was 6 of 6 shooting. Just kind of balling out. I mean, you just feed him the ball, then that's fine. But by the second quarter, by the third quarter, when you take him out and you put your benches, your second string guys in, you're getting decimated. I mean, that's when the Celtics were on the score. I think they went on a 62-20 run at one point, and it was just it was terrible. So you're right. It's definitely not the proper way to build a team. He's a good compliment, but that's not how you want to build a team.
And there's questionable decisions that Elton Brand has made, signing Tobias Harris, trading everything that Hinkie kind of worked for Tobias Harris. and then signing him to an extension, and then signing Al Horford to an extension. And those are two of the worst contracts in basketball, I would think, right? I mean, everybody says it, so I hate to be in the guy that says what everybody else says, but it's true. It's tough.
I think they got to get rid of both of them. They got to get rid of both of them.
It's hard to get rid of both those guys.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get rid of those guys, especially if you're like, all right, somebody will take Al Horford, but they want our next 2 unprotected first-round picks. Like, do you decimate your future to get rid of a bad contract that you put yourself in?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you just suck it up, and that's what you got? What you got is what you got. But we'll see how that plays out.
Sixers are in a sticky situation.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I hope he messes it up even more. I really hope he does. I would love to see it.
I mean, you as a Celtics fan, me as a Nets fan, in the same division. Divisions don't really matter so much in basketball. This is really like a tiebreaker. But even in the same conference, right? Obviously, you and I want to see the other Eastern Conference teams, make questionable decisions that will make our teams, have an easier run at the end game there. So I'm with you. But it's going to be one of the most interesting puzzle pieces that we've seen in a long time for them to piece everything together. Last team that we got going home is the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, listen, the Orlando Magic. Oh, no, they didn't go home. Oh, they didn't go home.
They're still there. They're still there. They won a game.
There's one more game. They won a game.
The Indiana Pacers, who responded to their first-round sweep at the hands of the Miami Heat by firing Nate McMillan. I have been back and forth with this firing of Nate McMillan, because on the one hand, he got swept by the Heat, and his performance in the playoffs has been underwhelming at best. And you could he's gotten tough matchups. He's gotten the Boston Celtics. He's gotten the Miami Heat with his dudes with an Oladipo that isn't at 100% or may not ever be at 100%, and no Sabonis. So, is it his fault?
I think he's just gotten very unlucky. We've seen him get a lot out of his players, especially in the regular season. We saw in the seeding games too at TJ Warren. You're right. I mean, it's a 50-50. How do you stand on it? I think he's a good coach, and there's a bunch of people that have gone on record saying that he does get the most out of his players. Absolutely. You got to respect that. You got to respect that as a fan, as a player, that your coach is going to push you and make you a better player. But like you said, this playoff record, and listen, the East is so top heavy every year, and they're getting bad hands, not having Sabonis and the unluckiness with Oladipo going down, and Miles Turner not developing maybe as everybody was hoping he was going to. And the disappearance of TJ Warren in the playoffs. Some of it you can put the blame on him for, some of it you can't. It sucks. I think he's a good coach, and he's gonna get another job pretty soon probably, or he's at least gonna be high up on people's lists, and he'll be all right. It's just interesting to see what the Pacers are gonna do next. What kind of coach are they even looking for at this point? They already had a coach with a developmental coach. Now what do you get?
Yeah, I'm going to give you their expiring deals, right? After this season, Justin Holiday, Jakar Sampson, and Elise Johnson are free agents. So not much there.
No.
They have Oladipo on the books till 2021. They have Brogdon on the books till 2023. Turner on the books till 2023. Warren and Lamb till 2022, McDermott, whatever, and Sabonis till 23-24. I don't think they're going to blow it up necessarily, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if they trade Victor Oladipo in the offseason. That would not surprise me at all.
He's got to go. I mean, he doesn't. I don't think they blow it up either, but I think everybody on that team shouldn't feel comfortable. I could see anybody on that team being traded from Brogdon to Turner But like you said, with Depot having an expiring contract, and that might be a shot that the Nets might take. There's an expiring contract that
Mm-hmm.
maybe you get another 80% guy, but he's a shooter. He can play both sides of the ball. When he gets hot, he gets hot. He makes the team better. So Depot is probably the better trade target, but I could see anybody going on the block at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's tough because obviously they just signed Sabonis to an extension. They just signed Brogdon for 4 years. It's going to be tough to see what they do, and that's why I think try to get the most what you can out of Oladipo and maybe Miles Turner right now, and you have some money on the books for some players that fit your mold, and you have draft capital to see what you can do. But they still pay Monte Ellis fucking $2.2 million.
No way.
According to Basketball Reference, they pay Monte Ellis.
No way.
Yeah.
For how long?
till the 2022 season. He's only 34. He can pop off the bench.
Restructure his contract and then it's like the
just
Bobby Vanilla deal.
Yeah, keep extending him. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Okay. I guess we can go on to the teams that have moved on. So we got, I guess, from Indiana, we can go to Miami. So I love what I saw from Miami this round, especially Jimmy Butler, right? And you expect Jimmy Butler to, kind of flip that extra switch when it's coming to the playoffs. But I think he took it to a next level. You know what I mean?
I just don't know if the Heat have what it takes to make that jump that they need to make to beat the Bucks, the Bucks and the Raptors. I mean, the Celtics, I don't want to talk too much about because I never know what they're going to play like, and I hate predicting them. And even the Bucks, whatever. But I don't know if they can make that jump. I mean, they've shown flashes of potential, but they also have shown, some games where it's like you get nothing. If Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero aren't shooting the lights out, what else do they have? I mean, Jimmy Butler is not a scorer. He isn't a scorer. I mean, he's a great player. He can do it on both sides of the court. He can make a bucket. But I'm not expecting Jimmy Butler to put up 35 points on 50% shooting. He's going to shoot. Maybe he'll put up 30 points, but on 30% shooting, and that's could hurt the team. Bam Adebayo isn't really a shooter. He's just that perennial paint guy. They have good rotational guys too. I mean, the team is structured pretty well. I don't think this is their year. I think next year they're going to really be a problem after being together for a full year, and especially in this bubble season, getting the chemistry going. I could see them being a threat next year. This year, I don't think they're going to get swept. It's nothing like that because who do they play next? Milwaukee if they win? Or when Milwaukee wins? Yeah, I think they play Milwaukee. So I kind of think that Giannis is just going to power right through them, and it's good. I mean, listen, we've seen the Bucks at their best, and the Bucks are pretty good. It'd be nice to see the Bucks lose and the Heat beat them, but I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be more of like a 4-2 series. The Heat take a couple games, but they're close, and then I see the Bucks run away with a couple of them too.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think scored more for the 2019-2020 Heat? Udonis Haslem or Dion Waiters?
Oh, don't tell me it's Haslem.
Is that your final answer?
I want to say Dion Waiters, but if you tell me it's Udonis Haslem, I might have to.
I need a final answer.
Dion Waiters.
Dion Waiters has scored 28 points for this Miami Heat team when he was there for 3 games before he got suspended. Udonis Haslem has scored 12 points.
Oh, thank God. All right.
In 4 games. So I just thought that was interesting. No, but I agree with you. I think Miami is kind of built for the playoffs, right? They have a dominant guy in Jimmy Butler who's that alpha dog personality. They have a solid number 2 in Bam Adebayo who can match up with the best centers, and he's athletic enough to guard, some of the smaller players in the league, at least stay in front of them, or if he falls behind, he can at least contest their shots without fouling. Duncan Robinson has really come out of nowhere this season, and I don't think he misses threes ever. I don't think I've ever seen him miss a 3.
Okay, there you go. So, I don't think I've ever seen him miss one.
Yeah, so it's 45% from 3. That's ridiculous. And then Tyler Hero shooting 39% from 3. It's ridiculous. So if those guys are popping off, phenomenal. If those guys are missing shots,
is it that they I want to see them play. I mean, it is going to be interesting to see how they play the Bucks because the competition from playing the Indiana Pacers to jumping to the Milwaukee Bucks, it's a high jump. So it'll be interesting to see how they, especially the defense that the Milwaukee Bucks play after Giannis wins Defensive Player of the Year, which fine. Their defense they play great defense, and with the length of everybody on that court, they could stretch both sides of the field. I don't know. I just don't know. I like what I see from the Heat, but I just don't know.
This Miami team is very well coached, obviously, with Eric Spoelstra. But the one thing that keeps coming back to me is their relative youth. I mean, you look at Jimmy Butler. He's been there before.
That's why I think it's going to be a year's game for them.
Jimmy Butler's been there, right? Goran Dragic has been there. I believe this is Bam Adebayo's first experience in the playoffs.
I think so.
Okay, no, he was there in 17 and 18, but only played in 5 games and only scored 3 points a game. So this is really his first big-time experience. Obviously, it's Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nuns and Tyler Hero. So we'll see how those guys adapt. I think it's kind of gone understated that they now have Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder. Those guys are probably among the toughest dudes in the league. And you've seen Jay Crowder in a Celtics uniform, right?
Yeah, Jay Crowder's a dog.
He's a dog, right? And he's gonna compete, and those two might not score, but they're going to compete on both sides of the floor. They're not going to make you drill your head into the wall with stupid decisions. So I think this Miami team is very well disciplined. I think youth is going to play a big factor going into the last or going into further rounds of the playoffs. Speaking of well-disciplined rosters, we have the Toronto Raptors, who are
that series. I'm so excited for the Celtics-Raptors series. I think it's going to be great. The way the Raptors have been playing is, the way they pass the ball. Again, they did play a damaged Brooklyn Nets team who had their second string and their third strings out there the whole game. Fine, but still, the way they passed the ball, the way they made it look, it was pretty great. I was real impressed by the way the Celtics play basketball too. Kemba Walker looks 100% healthy. Jason Tatum's an absolute baller. Jaylen Brown is a stud. Marcus Smart should have been out there for the Defensive Player of the Year. It's going to be a back and forth. I see it as a 6-7 game series between these two teams.
Yeah, I don't see how it doesn't go 7 games. It's going to be one of the most physical series that we see in here, because you don't if you are being switched off a guy, right? The dude that you're being switched onto can also guard you. If Kyle Lowry and another dude are in a if Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka are in a pick and roll, right? It's an easy flip switch right there for the Celtics, and same with vice versa. If it was Kemba and Tatum or Kemba and
that's why it's going to be great, because neither side, when the Celtics played the Sixers, and they have oversized big men when it comes to Horford and Embiid, and even Tobias Harris is a pretty oversized big guy, and the Celtics don't have that.
Although he struggles defending Tobias Harris, but
but still, the length that the Sixers had, and then it's going to, I think the Toronto Raptors and the Celtics are kind of shaped the same way in the way they structure their team. I think the Toronto Raptors are structured a little bit better, but I think the Celtics have a deeper bench. That's just me. But like you said, the pick and roll, the switch game it doesn't matter what you do. It's positionless basketball out there.
Yeah, for sure. I think these guys are going to come in and push this series to 7 games. I think.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm going to rip my hair out every second of that game.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry sprained his ankle, twisted against the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll see if he comes in at 100%. We know ankle injuries are kind of tough to really gauge where you're at. Everybody's kind of different. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see.
Gordon Hayward to that stuff to an ankle injury for the rest of the bubble, and that hurts. That's a key rotational guy.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward's still a scorer. He was putting up 20 a game. or he
Mm-hmm.
was putting up like 15, 16 a game, but he had the potential to give you 20. Knows how to pass the ball, rebounds, plays defense. So it's tough losing him too. So we'll see. I'm excited. Hopefully, these games start up soon though. But obviously, hey, we're not rushing into it. I got nothing to
Mm-hmm.
do for the next 20 years, so let it ride.
Yeah, it's going to be a really solid series. Do you have a prediction? I guess you're gonna go. I think you're gonna go Boston just because you're a
I'm
Boston
gonna go.
fan.
I'm
But
gonna go. I am. I'm gonna go Boston in 7.
okay.
I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be disappointed. It's tough to say I'm not gonna be disappointed if they lose because I don't know what the games are gonna be. I don't want it to be a. If the Celtics lose, I want it to go 7 games. I don't want it to be
Right.
a 4-2, anything like that. A 4-1. That'd just be ridiculous. I would like a
Yeah.
7-game series. I think it's
You
gonna
know,
go 7.
any experience for both of these teams? Well, more so the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors, because most of this Toronto team is, they got a ring on their finger. So for Boston, if they, this is Kemba Walker's first experience getting into the second round, right? We'll see what kind of production that we get from like Tatum's and Browns and Marcus Smart. And if you want to beat if you want to beat the Raptors, you have to have your best every single night, and it has to be consistent.
Yeah, it's just
And
I think if we were playing in Toronto or Boston as opposed to playing in Orlando in a gym,
mm-hmm,
I think that the playoff experience would be more of an advantage, I would say.
mm-hmm.
Like now, you just pump up some crowd music and that's supposed to kind of rattle you.
Yeah, but I think these guys are going to get into the competition a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah,
that kind of is a motivator in
yeah.
itself.
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely. I don't want to debate that because that's for sure. It's just I don't, the playoff experience is there, but like, come on, like that hype around that Game 7 the Sixer Toronto. That's crazy. You're not
mhm,
gonna have moments like that where the crowd's going nuts, unless they're pumping in crowd music and it just sounds like it's crazy.
right.
But other than that,
And these two teams split the season series 2-2.
mhm,
So it's
mhm.
definitely going to be interesting. I think I'm going to go Toronto in 7, with the differentiator being the playoff experience that Toronto has. Um, so I guess we can. So that covers everything
In the
in
East,
the
pretty
Oh
much.
no, nope. We still have
You want to
Milwaukee
talk
and
about
Orlando.
Milwaukee?
Yeah, we have
Listen, I don't
Milwaukee and
want to talk too
Orlando.
much about that. There's not much.
Let me ask you.
What are you gonna do? Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Let me just ask you a question. Milwaukee has kind of looked shaky against Orlando.
Yep.
Does that scare you moving forward?
I don't know.
You
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I really don't know because they were one of the most disappointing teams in the seeding in our seeding games because they decided not to play defense and lose the 4 out of
Hmm.
their 5 games. That first game they looked like trash and it scared me. Then they kind of blew them out the past 3 games. So I think they're fine. I think they kind of got back into it, but it scares me to know that they could also not give a crap and just kind of take a big duty on the game and just
Hmm.
let the Heat walk all over them.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. This Bucks team. I don't want to say that they're in trouble, but if they continue to play the way they're playing, I would probably be a little nervous. Um,
It's tough for me to say. Didn't they just win by 20 points in these last 3 games or something like that?
yeah, I mean, Giannis is doing everything he can, right?
Which is as per usual.
Hmm. Um, and
Chris
Chris
Middleton's
Middleton has
played
kind
like
of been struggling.
because he's not good, dude. He's not good. Chris Middleton is not great. He's a good basketball player. He could, yes, I'm not whatever. He's just not that good, dude. Except when he plays the Boston Celtics and then he shoots the lights out. So I'm telling you, if the Celtics play the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals, Chris Middleton's going to average like 25 points a game. And I'm going to hate every
Yeah,
second of it.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at these numbers right now in these playoffs, and it's not overly impressive. Where Chris Middleton is shooting 37% from 3, but 31% from the floor, only 13 points a game. He's still pulling down 7 rebounds, but you need to do a bit more. I don't worry for this Boston team or for this Milwaukee team, this Bucks team. but it could get shaky if they get outplayed. Not that they're getting outplayed by Orlando, but Orlando's giving them a decent fight. You know what I mean? Like, they're playing hard, and I feel like they're giving other teams. We talked about this last week. Other teams the blueprint of like how to beat them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like I said, I think Miami's gonna steal a couple games from them.
Sure.
It'll be interesting if this game goes 7 games too. I think Miami could. I mean, Miami has the ability to make it close, especially if you keep the Bucks napping.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't care less about the Milwaukee Bucks, to be honest with you.
Yeah. All right. So let's move over to the West. I guess we can start with the Lakers in Portland because I think that one's on the edge of being over. Damian Lillard has left the bubble. He's not going to play anymore. So it's McCollum and Carmelo.
McCollum's got like a broken back. They say he walks around in the bubble with a back brace. You have Zach Collins, who isn't playing. You have Nurkic, who's still trying to get through his grandma passing. You have an aged Carmelo. You have just role players on the bench. They're done. It's sad because we're all hoping to see a good fight, and it was. I mean, the first game was great. The first game was good. But the Lakers are the Lakers, and when you have LeBron and AD on the same team, no wonder you're going to win almost every game.
Yeah, it's curtains for the Trailblazers.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That's fine. I think they're okay with that. They did what they wanted to do. I don't think they were expected to. I mean, they weren't expected to beat the Lakers. I don't think whatever, but
no. But you know what? When they beat the Nets and made the playoffs, it was kind of overhyped. It was kind of like, look what this team is doing. They could upset the Lakers, and whether everyone was just saying it to say it or if everyone believed it is a different thing. But like, I mean, we're
maybe next year.
Maybe next year when everyone's healthy and can get back here. Looking at these playoff numbers,
Dame Lillard is still a stud, dude. That guy is an absolute stud.
Absolutely,
as an absolute baller.
Mm-hmm. Looking at these playoff numbers, everybody gets on Danny Green and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and other guys and Kuzma for missing shots, but first of all, LeBron is 43% from three this series. Bless you.
Shit.
Danny Green is 40% from three. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is 39%, and Kuzma's 37%. I don't think you can get much better from those guys. I know they had one stinker, and it kind of threw everything off, but they've been pretty much lights out, making the shots that they're supposed to hit right now.
The Lakers going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Yeah. Who they play next round?
So they would play the winner of Houston and OKC, which is a good segue because that's a really fun series that we should talk about because holy wow, those teams don't like each other. And they're probably about as well matched as any team going in here.
Yeah, it's just my thing with the Rockets is they're not deep. I mean, they really aren't, and that's what kind of screws them over at the end. But it's also crazy to see OKC just overperform, like, again and again and again. I mean, Chris Paul is just a baller, and Shai is just developing, and Danilo Gallinari is still relevant. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, and Danilo Gallinari is really good. He's one of their better players, on this team.
It's crazy.
Houston goes 8 deep, and their three-man bench is Jeff Green, who Renaissance man Jeff Green. Every once in a while, once a year. Green. It's once a year. Jeff Green will rise from the ashes, ball out a couple games. Everybody will look at that dude and be like, "Man, I wish I had Jeff Green on my team." And then he back into the depths of hell for Jeff Green. It's every year, dude. It's every single year, without fail.
I love this guy, dude. Uncle Jeff Green is the man. He's just he's a playoff stud. That's all he wants to do is be on a team.
Apparently,
he don't care about the regular season. He cares about the playoffs. Crazy series. Houston not having Russell Westbrook is a huge detriment to the team, I should say. They get Russell Westbrook back, and now we're talking. Now I think Houston's back in business, but without Russell Westbrook, it's a toss-up. I kind of thought Houston was going to run away a little bit. Chris Paul doesn't really seem like he wants to go home just yet. Respect. James Harden is still a monster. It's just been a back and forth series, and it's pretty cool to see.
Well, the thing with the Rockets, right? You're going to beat the Rockets if the Rockets make 10 out of their 53s, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to 50 in game 4 or game 3, I guess. They went. Oh no, this was game 4. Now it's 2-2.
Okay.
58 threes. That's ridiculous. They made 23 of them. And that's why the game was close, right? That's why they lost 114-117, but still, you're gonna win if they shoot if they make 10 of them, or if you hold them to 40. I guess I don't know. They're gonna shoot their 3-pointers no matter what, and if you can limit that, or if they can miss them, you're gonna win the series. I don't know how often they're going to miss them, but this is definitely a series to watch.
That's another question: is how often are they gonna miss?
It's tough to guard James Harden, but Lu Dort is doing a stand-up job against him. He went to Arizona State. He went undrafted. He's built like a Mack truck.
That's a big truck.
He's
a big
huge,
dude.
It's insane that like a rookie, even though he's built like a tree, can come in and not dominate James Harden, but be able to but limit him in what he's able to do, impede his movement a little bit, like extend on a step back. It's insane, and it's tough that this dude's name is Lu Dort, and now everybody's kind of hearing about him. I think they have another one. They have a solid defender here in Lu Dort. They have another piece. They keep finding these guys, and good for them, honestly.
OKC in development, man. You got to shout out to the team. Billy Donovan's doing a phenomenal job over there. Listen, I think it's going to go in 7 games, and whoever shoots the lights out is going to win the game. I think Russell Westbrook is going to have to come back and play basketball for the Houston Rockets to win this. And then even if they go on to the next round and they play the Lakers, I don't even know if they win that series. The way the Lakers are playing basketball is very high level. And all the Houston Rockets really have are shooters. Defense, forget about that. They already left. They left that in Houston when they came in the bubble. Tough. I don't think OKC stands a chance too much either, but whatever.
Yeah. Moving on, we got Denver and Utah, and one of the key players here in this Denver series has been Jamal Murray, right? Now, if you recall, one of the first podcasts we did, we bought and sold teams. I sold the Denver Nuggets because I didn't think that they were built. No, they were good. I just didn't think that they were necessarily built for what they're trying to do. One of those things is Jamal Murray is going to come out one game and score 40, and then the next game he's going to come out and score 12, and you're going to be like, where the hell did that guy go? But he has taken my criticism thus far and twisted it sideways and shoved it back up my you-know-what. So it's insane that he's been able to do what he's doing. I don't know
what you want me to say. You refer back to the first episode where he bought and sold. You sold, I bought.
I know.
I got nothing to say.
Yeah, they're still losing this. They're still losing the series, right? So we can acknowledge the fact that they're still down 3-2. They're on the ropes right now.
I just can't believe it's pretty much been the Donovan Mitchell show, and it's kind of ridiculous that he's just dropping 50 on Denver like it's no problem.
Yeah, like it's nothing. It's nothing. And this is really what everybody kind of wanted to see from Donovan Mitchell. Like, we know you can score, but what else can you, like, can you defend at a high level?
I didn't think he had it in him, to be completely honest with you. I didn't think he had it in him. I am shocked, and it's crazy because he's a baller.
Yeah, 30 points in Game 5. He had 50 points in Game 4. And then in Game 3, I think he also had another
he dropped a 50-piece in the first game, I thought.
Hell is he? Oh, he had 20 in Game 3. Yeah, but he's been solid. He's been one of the most consistent players in this series, right? And they're getting a lot out of Mike Conley. Mike Conley has the Fred VanVleet jump where he, like, you know, has a kid and now he balls out.
Apparently, it's that daddy power.
Yeah, but this series is definitely one for the books. I think the Jazz are going to take it 4-2. And then I think they're going to get crushed in their next round matchup against the Clippers.
Oh, yeah.
Or Dallas with the Clippers.
But the Clippers, yeah, I think they get spankaroonie.
It's weird the way this Jazz team is built, because you look at the guys getting minutes off the bench, right? Tony Bradley, Juwan Morgan, Gorgeous Niang, and Jordan Clarkson.
If Jordan Clarkson shot the lights out last game, I think he had like 30 points.
He had 17, but he had 14 of those 17 in the first half. And then he went cold.
Yeah, well, listen, that's Jordan Clarkson. I don't even expect him to make 3 buckets.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Jazz are just kind of getting lucky. You know, they're getting lucky with their role players producing. And yeah, I don't think it translates when they play the Clippers.
No, I don't think so either. And Rudy Gobert is making Nikola Jokic his son, his large adult son, his large adult Serbian son.
I think Jokic needs to put those pounds back on.
Yeah. It's
or he'll beef up in the offseason, put some muscles on.
Put some muscles on.
That ain't no problem.
I mean, he's probably one of the best offensive. He's still probably the best offensive center in the league, but like he's getting stifled by Rudy Gobert, and not necessarily last game, because I think he started that game like I think he started like 6 for 6 and like 4 or 4 from 3 or something like that. But he is kind of getting bodied down low on defense, and that's to be kind of expected, but you can't get that in a playoff game. Like that's some stuff that you can't really let happen. I guess moving on to the last game, we got the Clippers in Dallas, and this has a lot of intertwined storylines, I think. So do you want to start with Paul George?
Oh, goodness. Oh, gosh. All right. Let's start with Luka. Let's start at a high note. I'd rather end on a crappy note than
Okay, that's fine.
Wow.
Yeah, holy cow. Okay. Yeah, that's – I mean, I was going to say the same thing.
Just wow. What I've seen – wow.
It's nuts.
He single-handedly wins them basketball games. Like,
yeah,
there's really
he's
nothing.
Insane.
I don't really know what to say about him, because all you have to do is watch. You watch him, and then you just like, he's only what is he 19, 20 years old? I mean, like
he's yeah,
like and he's over there hitting those game winners, and especially on that soft left ankle when he twisted. You see, it twisted and it went like this. I mean, he's walking. Yeah. It just. I don't know what to say.
This dude has been going against professional basketball players since he was like 14 in Europe. You know what I mean? Like those dudes.
Well, yeah. When you play overseas, we know those. Those he's playing against grown men. Yes.
Yeah, so and those guys are like
Wasn't he the one that he said when he moved over that this is actually the NBA is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be?
Yeah. I mean, and to that point, like these are European dudes who aren't making as much money, right? See this 17-year-old dude beating him up, basically, and then they want to go out and, physically beat him up. They might be waiting after the game for him with, with bats.
with bats and crowbar.
Yeah, like waiting out in the back alleys, waiting to beat him. Yeah, but no, he's doing this on the NBA level too. And shout out to Mike Breen because that Mike Breen
A double bang.
Mike Breen yelling bang might be the most satisfying call in sports.
Yes.
It is.
But that shot was all. I remember watching that game live, or I guess maybe on a 3-second whatever, because since they don't want us to hear anybody cussing. And listen, I knew he was going to make it. I mean, oh God, the double bang is just how I felt too. Like you're watching it, and you're like, oh,
yeah. I'm gonna read you his playoff
All I was gonna say
stats.
is when that Dallas team gets Kristaps back, 100% Kristaps back, next year probably. Well, not this year. We'll forget about this year. We'll say next year. Wow. Yeah. I mean, Luka needs just a little bit of help, and that's all he needs is just a little bit, not even a lot, because he's not getting any help right now. All he needs his help is Maxi Kleber and Tim Hardaway Jr. That's his help.
Yeah, which he's still putting on numbers. And I'll give you some playoff stats here. We got Luka Doncic, 30 points a game, right? 10 rebounds, 8 assists on 49% shooting from the floor, and 34% from three, right? That's solid for a dude's first time in the playoffs going against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
Pat Bev,
and Marcus Morris.
Marcus Morris.
Yeah, those guys are going to beat you up. But you also have Tim Hardaway Jr. giving you 12 a game, giving you 19 a game, on 40% from three. Seth Curry, who's shooting out of his mind, is giving you production. And we had a renaissance of Trey Burke.
That's what happened. Oh my God, Trey Burke.
Yeah, we had a renaissance of Trey Burke. He's averaging 13 a game, shooting 53% from three and 57% from the floor. Is that going to hold up long term? No.
Even Maxi Kleber's been playing well. He's shooting the three ball. He's playing down low, and I think that's a testament to Luka getting guys open, passing guys open, driving, kicking out.
I mean, Maxi Kleber right now is shooting 15% from three, 1-5.
Oh,
so. But you know what he can do. No, but to your point, you know what he can do. He can shoot the basketball. He's not going to be lights out like a Porzingis or like like any other bigger guy. But he's still you still have to respect it because you know what he can do, right? And they're getting some value out of Boban too. It's weird seeing Boban on a court and like actually doing some stuff because I don't know, he just looks big. But he's making like fadeaways, like little flick jumpers, and it's going in like it's nothing. But this is definitely a fun team to watch.
I'm a huge fan of that Dallas Mavericks team. It's hard not to be. I mean, I love that team. And Luka, give him another 2 years, and he's going to be the best player in basketball.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be up there. It's kind of nuts that they're giving them fits, right? I don't know if the Clippers came in here a little unprepared, a little, but
I think so. I think they started off slow. The Clippers, it didn't help that Paul George was shooting like 2%.
Yeah.
For the first 4 games or 3 games. Kawhi Leonard hasn't really put the team on his back, and everyone on that team's just kind of been playing mediocre. It hasn't really been like the Clippers are playing like the high caliber team that they are. Now their last game, Paul George finally decided to make the basketball.
Yeah, he was due.
Good for him.
Everyone was kind of like, "Oh, he stinks," but it's like, nah, it's Paul George. Like he's going to get more. It's there, right? But we know that this Dallas team is going to score, right? Their strategy right now is like, hey, if Kawhi comes down, makes a 2, we're going to come down, also make a 2, right? And there's nothing you can really do to stop it. It's an offensive-heavy series because the Mavs are really good on offense, and they also stink at defense. So we'll see how this goes. I think it's going to be competitive moving forward. It is.
I think it's 2-2.
Yeah, no, it's 3-2. It's 3-2 Clippers. I think Game 6 is going to be competitive. But I don't think Dallas pulls out another.
No,
one.
I don't think I don't think Dallas pulls out another one. It'd be shocking if they win this series.
No.
And even if they do, this is the thing. Listen, if they win that series and
This
they
is
play,
experience, right? This is absolute experience going against guys like you said, going against guys like Kawhi, like Paul George, like Montrezl Harrell, like Morris. Like these are top echelon NBA defenders, right? And this is a young team, and this is only going to help them in the long term, right? So
yeah, it's fun. It's a fun series, and that's all I really care about at this point.
mhm,
Luka's must watch TV.
absolutely.
I think out of the whole, I want to watch him more than I want to watch James Harden and LeBron
Hmm.
James. You know, I want to watch him more than any other team. I mean, besides the Celtics, I got to watch Celtics, but I want to watch Luka Doncic play basketball. I mean,
It's
what
fun
the
and
hell is
it's
this guy
new,
gonna?
and it's
What's he
like
gonna do next? What's he gonna do next,
exactly,
man? I don't know. I don't
exactly.
know.
I guess we can get into a little bit of Paul George, right? He's been struggling, and he said he's been going through some mental health stuff that's been kind of holding him back. He broke out of it and went for, I
30?
believe he went for 30, yeah. Um,
30 or 32? I'm not sure.
yeah, and it's good for Paul George, right? Because if Paul George is firing, this team is one of the more unbeatable teams in the NBA, right? Between
Oh yeah,
Kawhi
no
Leonard and
doubt.
Paul George, um, and the bevy of role players that they have there. Do you see Paul George's struggles continue, or do you think he broke out of it?
I think he broke out of it. I think, well, at least for this series, I think he's finally comfortable. I mean, all you really need is to see the ball go through the basket to kind of get back going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that swagger is going to travel or carry over to this weekend when
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they start playing again. Um, will it transfer over to the next series? I don't know. I think Kawhi needs to step it up a little bit too. I mean, they signed him to be the big boy, and he's not really being the big boy.
Mm-hmm.
Putting the team on his back. Even if Paul George putting up 15 a game, Kawhi should still be able to put up 30. Small 30s, 35, 40 points at least, and kind of do what he's got to do and shoot the lights out. But he's not even really shooting the lights out too. But Kawhi really isn't that kind of guy. But still, you sign Kawhi to be that dude. You sign Paul George to be the number two. Paul George has been I don't know. I think he breaks
Yeah.
out. I think he's fine. I think he carries it into next game. And that's why I think he shoots the light. All the Clippers need is for him to shoot, and they will win. That is it.
Mm-hmm. And to that point, like if you don't see the ball go in the first couple times, right? You don't have to keep shooting it, Paul George. Like do something else. Like
Drive
cut to the
or drive
basket,
and kick it
drive to the
out.
basket, catch a
Drive,
lob.
kick out, do
You know,
something. Yeah.
like
Yeah, play.
it's tough seeing
Even
him
those
go.
good defensive plays for him. Getting a steal, getting a block, and taking it to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Coast to coast.
Yeah,
That's a confidence booster.
it's tough seeing him go like 0 for 2 from the floor and then kind of being a little bit passive when you know what Paul George can do. Like we've seen
Yeah.
it. Like and he's in the upper echelon of stars. He's not a I don't think he's a superstar per se, but he's in
Yeah, I
that
don't think
upper
he's
echelon of
definitely like
stars.
tier 2, tier 3.
Sure,
I give
yeah,
him tier 2.
and
Yeah.
that's good, right? And that's not a dude that you expect to really dip into these shooting slumps like that. But for him to kind of just be passive a little bit, like be aggressive, because
Uh huh.
this Dallas team isn't going to stop you. You see Maxi Kleba in front of you, what are you going to do? Are you going to pass out of it? No, you're going to drive to the hoop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Why,
no
why,
one's really
why are you
stopping
not
you on this
barreling
Dallas
through
team.
him and Tim Hardaway,
Exactly.
Dorian Finney-Smith? Are you telling me
Hmm.
you're not going to just take him to the rack? I mean, come on.
Hmm.
I mean, Paul George is
Yeah,
a big dude.
yeah. So Paul George, keep shooting.
Yeah,
Um,
don't stop.
yeah, don't stop. So that pretty much covers everything that I kind of had on the docket. So that's all the time we have for today. Uh,
That is.
like I said in the beginning, if you like what you hear, let us know what you think. Review, rate, comment, follow us on Twitter. Nick, your Twitter is at Tobias_Nick. Nick
Or the other
underscore
way
Tobias.
around.
Nick underscore Tobias.
We'll say that one. Yeah, I think it's
All
that
right,
one.
Nick underscore Tobias. Mine is at Burner of Anthony. Um,
Caps on Sports
yeah,
at
follow it. Yeah,
anything. Hit us up.
yeah.
Do
Let
what
us
you gotta
know.
do.
So next week, the return of trivia.
What's up?
Until
Yeah, the
then,
return of trivia.
see you next week.